guys, Kara's here. Hear the birds? They're hanging out. I'm at a park system in the middle of San Jose, California that includes a bunch of different parks. The ones that I'm at right now are Heritage Rose Garden and Demonstration Orchard. So here's the orchard right over there. And I'm actually sitting in a tree because, as you can see, the branches come down and go under the ground and then up to other, well, the trunks, I guess, multiple trunks. And then here, there's a nice little hole going through, so I think I'm going to pass my oracle cards through that because it's a nice little activation to do for them. So this video is going to be about healing the vampire. And I know that might freak some of you out, that title alone, talking about beings from the shadow side of our multidimensional experience is always daunting. But what I have realized is that as we're going along as humans, those of us who are called to do the multidimensional work, and we're having to integrate these pieces of collective unconsciousness that we don't want to look at. And the reason we don't want to look at them is because they've been traumatized and they're acting out of whack. So for instance, let's take the archetype of the vampire. And the reason I'm wearing this cloak is because I'm visiting a conference here in San Jose this week called PantheaCon. And I didn't even know what it was. The universe just kind of got me here. I couldn't even research it before I came. And it's essentially a bazaar made of all types of pagans. So it's a conference and they do talks during the day. And there are some more familiar pagan types of groups here that I'm used to and have heard of before, at least. I don't know if I could say I'm used to them, but there are also groups I've never even heard of, and so it's very fascinating just to be around all of the energy. And that's also, I mean, where else can you wear a black cloak? And it's interesting wearing this because I'm also wearing it around town because it's pretty darn comfortable, and feeling all of the lifetimes come back of when we wore clothes like this and noticing empathically people's reactions to it. Very interesting. Also helping me to integrate this vampire, right? So before I get started here, I want to say we all have it. These are all aspects that we all have. Somewhere in you watching this, there's an angel, there's a demon, there's a fairy, there's a gnome, there's an alien, there's all these different pieces that make you up. It's kind of the ingredients that make up humankind. And if you're not attracted to researching that stuff, then don't. It doesn't really matter. It's like if you want to learn how your blood circuitry works. You can, or you don't have to. It's neither better nor worse to do it. It's just if you feel called to. So I, though, have had to, I guess on some level I've chosen, but the universe has guided me through it, kind of go around and integrate, now there are dogs talking too, go around and integrate the various aspects for others first and then integrate it within myself. So for instance, I get here the first night and there's some very strong vampire energy and I'm like, whoa, there are vampires here. And now I'm not talking about literal ones that bite your neck, although I don't know, I've never experienced anything like that. I'm talking about this type of archetypal force, right? And then I have to realize, well, if I can recognize it, that means it has to exist in me somewhere as well. And so when it's out of whack, which is what we're used to, which is why it's even that word with a negative connotation to it, what is a vampire? It's someone who brings in, pulls in energy. You have some of it in you too. When you're not feeling good, any time in your life, right? This can be 10 years ago when you were a teenager. Goodness knows, teenagers trying to figure out the child-adult thing and going through all the expansion and contraction that it is to become an adult in a human body. They have lots of vampiric energy. So when you were upset or grumpy or whatever, and then you either started a fight with someone or you needed to call someone and tell them about all your problems and never ask them how they were doing or what was up with them. We've all done it. You know, you're not a bad person for doing it. It's part of the makeup of humans. So that's being vampiric. And there are some ways that are equal energy exchange because just receiving is not bad. Because I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, well, nobody wants to be a vamp, right? It's not hot to be a vamp. But there has to be a reason that it exists to put into balance. Because I believe that everything can be harmonious and we don't have to eradicate certain things in order to be happy, as those of us who are trying to ascend and expand and become more conscious. I'm sitting right under the airport flight path. Here's the plane. Oh, and also there's this little seedling that's sprouting right here. Where is it? There you go. Isn't that so cute? The little green coming out of the tree. It's just really cool. Anyway, so how can the energy of vampirism be something that could be integrated in peace and not gone at with a sword? Because that's what we've been doing for so long, you guys, and look, it ain't really working, is it? The stuff's still here. We're still not out of the cage, right? So let's figure it out and really be honest about how we are doing this as well. And so what I figured about the light side of vampiric energy is that it receives. Now, I know who watches my stuff, what type of people you guys are generally, because of what you say to me and our interactions. And I know that most of you are light workers, and most of you have a genuine vested interest in making this world a more harmonious and evolved place to be. And so that means, not theoretically, definitely true, but historically is what I was looking for, that you can't receive very well. Light workers, what does a star do? It goes bing, 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 and does any light get into the star? I don't know. I don't think so. They just shine all over the place. So light workers are great at giving, caretakers, advisors, listeners, teachers, but not very good at receiving. And when you receive too much and you don't give enough, you're a vampire. So that means that if we can integrate that type of energy and make it work for us in healthy balance between us and the rest of the universe, then that means that we've balanced receiving, and that means all that abundance you guys are all trying to manifest, it gets right there and then it slips out of your hand. It's because you can't receive it in. So learning how to integrate the vampire is very healthy and good for that. So another thing that you might have noticed over the past maybe month or two, and this is February the 15th today, so over January, possibly during the holiday season, is that those of you who have been consciously working on expansion, amping up, have attracted vamps to you. So people in your life, or even people on the internet, or whatever it is that just want to drink your life force and don't really give much back. They always want to ask you questions, help me, help me, help me, and you help, and then they just come back with the same thing, or whatever it is. And they don't know they're doing it either, because what ended up happening was all this huge expansion that we've had, right, as beings who are trying to become fully incarnate divine creators in the body, multifaceted, multidimensional, not just going to one dimension. It's not like we're going to go to 5D and leave all the rest behind. That's assuming that we're not already in 5D, but we're expanding to all of them. So that means that after you did all this huge expansion, now you're shining so bright, right? Hugely bright shining. Well, also, light workers have a problem with receiving, so it's likely that your universe is not yet matching the amount of energy that you're giving out. So that means that the whole thing is going to vamp you, which is part of the process, because if you were accepting all of the light before you were giving it, then you would be a vamp. So that's what's going on with us. So integrating the vampire is actually a really good thing. It brings peace. It's not like we're all going to go feeding on each other all the time. It's like we are going to be able to receive the healthy amount that we receive, to be able to get out of the duality paradigm of prosperity. And I don't necessarily mean dollars here at all. I hope you see what I'm saying. So I would like to pull a couple cards for you for the cycle going from the full moon, which was yesterday, Valentine's Day. It was an amazing night, I will say. The moon kept hypnotizing me. I was hanging out with my cousin, and he kept saying, Karis, if you don't keep walking, I'm going to leave you. I was just getting still stuck in the middle of the sidewalk staring at the moon. Okay, so now the moon is waning, and what we did collectively for the full moon was bring in new levels of perceived, experienced, and received deliciousness and enjoyment. That's pretty much what I noticed people talking about for this full moon. So we're wanting to manifest abundance, whether that be abundance of emotion and you are attracting new friends in your life, new loved ones in your life, or whether it be an abundance of finances, you're wanting to attract more money in your life, or whether it be just an abundance of fun experiences that you have, whatever it is, right? Okay, great. The full moon, it's flowing in. It brought it in. So now, how are we going to receive it? from now till the new moon, the energy is going down, so we're going to be getting rid of things we no longer need. So let's see what these cards will tell us. This is the Goddesses and Sirens deck mixed with the Gods and Titans deck, both by Stacey DeMarco, illustrated by Jimmy Manton, and I love these. Okay, you can get them at Stacey DeMarco's website is themodernwitch.com. I don't know her, but I keep meaning to reach out to her and ask her about these amazing cards. Something on the list, right? Okay, so this represents what this time is going to be for us, then who we are in the time, both masculine and feminine, our challenges, how we are going to surmount those challenges, and what upgrade we get at the end after learning all of this. What have we created in our circuitry field? Okay, so the next 2 weeks, Artemis, individuation. So Artemis is one of my favorite patron goddesses. She's all about being an independent woman. She never married. Some people call her the virgin huntress, but I don't think she was actually a virgin. I think that she just didn't settle down with a man. And she was the one who hung out in the woods. She was the protectress of a lot of the animals, and she hung out with a lot of the fae. So a lot of the fairies and druids and, yeah. Okay, so individuation. What we're going to be doing is trying to figure it out ourselves, not need community right now, because as we're integrating this, if we just lean on our community, then we won't integrate the vampire correctly. And it's interesting that my mouth just tried to say computer when I was trying to say community. Keep it in mind, y'all. Okay, so receiving and giving, what the issues are going to be, this is just us. This is just who we are. Okay, representing us is Amaterasu, self-esteem. Now, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, so if I didn't, I apologize. And she is a Asian goddess. I forget what country she's from, but she is kind of the Persephone tale. She went underground and everything stopped blooming because she was a nature goddess, and then her sister tricked her to come out of the cave because everything died, right? So her sister tricked her to come out by making a ruckus outside, and when she peeked her face out, her sister held up a mirror and she saw her own brightness, and she came back. So that's the story of her. That's what we're receiving, is seeing our own amazingness. And what we're giving, Dionysus, ecstasy, fun, indulgence. Keep it in balance there, you guys. You know, if you're receiving self-esteem and you're giving indulgence and pleasure, creature comforts, you know. So maybe now is the perfect time to bake brownies and give them to your friends. Maybe now is the perfect time to have a spa day. Maybe now is the perfect time to just have a dinner and